All right, hey, what's up, everyone? This is Chris from Unicorn Riot. We're live again in Portland. The area of town we were just in, I guess it's hard to keep a stream up due to all the buildings. So basically, get them. A group of a few hundred anti-fascists marched across the bridge into, as they're back near the waterfront. So this group of anti-fascists we're following is marching back to the waterfront, Tom McCall Waterfront Park, something like that. Back on the west downtown side of Portland. So the area before just now, when our stream was dropping, basically people were snaking through the streets of eastern Portland, trying to get towards areas where they had heard the Proud Boys were gathering. We tweeted some pictures from that time just now. Pretty aggressive displays by the Portland police in riot gear. They had a lot of less lethal weaponry out. They had the long-range acoustic device on top of their trucks. So pretty aggressive show of force, although no arrests were made. Cops were getting in people's faces, yelling at them to get out of the street with their batons out. I think a few people got pushed with batons. You can see there's a riot unit. Some of the cops have been sort of waving and laughing and kind of taunting the anti-fascist protesters. Oh, get these guys, right, perfect shot. So MRT, I think that means Mobile Response Team. These guys are Oregon State Troopers. There's at least two other unmarked vehicles behind this one. Most of these vehicles have these little jump out planks, so if they want to quickly make arrests or beat people up or whatever, they can do that. You can see they're prepared for mass arrests because they've got flex cuffs. You can see these guys have flex cuffs on the side of their vests. A lot of these events, a lot of people report the flex cuffs getting put on too tight. Some people say police put the flex cuffs on too tight as a form of punishment or torture, basically. That's sort of a thing that's happened a lot at these mass mobilizations over the years.
We don't have money for mental health.
So these guys are state troopers. Most of the cops on the front line have been either the Portland Police Bureau or the Multnomah County Sheriff. Oh wait, see if you can get, this guy's got something in his passenger seat. I think it's either a fire extinguisher or a big thing of mace. So it might be a fire extinguisher or a big thing of mace that's in the passenger seat of this police vehicle that's rolling through here with some state troopers on the side. Some other people are telling us that it's mace in there. It's like the big super soaker ones, not the little smaller canisters that most officers just have on their belts. So if you're just joining us or catching up, this is a group of anti-racist protesters that had left the downtown Portland waterfront area to go to East Portland, where they had heard some of the Proud Boys had gathered as their event was ending. There's now reports that some of the Proud Boys, the other far-right rally attendees, have gathered back in the waterfront area. This crowd is heading back there, and the police has been following this group very carefully. It would seem I would say the police have positioned themselves adversarially in relation to this group. I think that's a fair description. Whereas before they had closed bridges and reopened certain bridges just so the Proud Boys could leave the area without having counter-protesters follow them. So despite the recent charges against Joey Gibson and other members of Patriot Prayer for violence they took part in earlier this year, it does seem like the Portland police are continuing their practice of providing escorts and being very helpful and friendly with groups like Proud Boys and Patriot Prayer. Although some of them do also have active cases against them, so that dynamic is more complicated now. Seems like the same dynamics are continuing of police, being inclined to repress anti-fascists, but they're also prosecuting some of the people the anti-fascists are here to oppose. So it's a little different than maybe a lot of the other similar events in the past. And so yeah, there's an ongoing grand jury that's investigating Joey Gibson, who's the leader of the far-right group Patriot Prayer, and some other associates of his, guys named Demi Cooper, Russell Schultz, Ian Kramer, were all involved in a violent attack on patrons of an anarchist cider brewery called Cider Riot, that they said they went there and confronted people there, which led to a fight where they injured some people. They said that they went there because this place had done a benefit for Rose City Antifa. They basically admitted to targeting them because they saw them as, part of who they saw as their enemy. And so a lot of stuff has gone down in the last few years where there's been fights and violent attacks carried out by members of Patriot Prayer or the Proud Boys in Portland. All but a few have gone unprosecuted. But now there's this new case around the Cider Riot incident that seems to have taken away some of the momentum on the far right side for this particular event. So yeah, we're crossing the river here. We're about to be back in the waterfront area. So this is the end of the police convoy up ahead of us. I think we're kind of at the tail end of the group now.
Now we got our numbers.
So yeah, it's a long walk across the bridge. We'll try to bring you some more interviews and context later. I'm just saving my breath for the trek here. Thanks for bearing with us. Yeah, Unicorn Riot is an educational media nonprofit. We're funded entirely by viewer support. So if you go to our website, unicornriot.ninja, there's the donate tab. That's basically how we do everything. That's how we get all the equipment to do this, to be able to travel to these things. Also helps us fund some long-term investigative work. We've been able to publish and leak a fair amount of materials from inside some white supremacist groups in America, like Identity Europa, Patriot Front. We've gotten some leaks from groups like the Proud Boys as well. And so we try to cover some of these events on a national level when we think it's important. Yeah, so we also do long-term investigations in addition to coming to these events when it seems important. And so, yeah, we just try to present things as best we can. Right now, that involves a lot of walking, but we'll see what's happening on the downtown waterfront side. We're about to arrive there.
I actually like they haven't seen my face. Yeah. I know.
I mean, I kind of thought I saw people down there before, but now I'm kind of wondering if everybody just go back to the
Just wanted to quickly say thank you to people who have donated today. We've gotten a few new donors, a few new patrons on Patreon. Thank you so much. That's really how we're able to do this and continue doing this and be able to plan events for the future. Be able to fund some of our investigative work. Some of the research tools we use cost money. There's a fair amount of behind-the-scenes tinkering involved in some of the new stream stuff we're trying out, so we really appreciate it, everyone. Thank you very much. If you can't afford to donate, no problem. We appreciate it when people share our stuff, like it. The way social media algorithms work, basically people aren't going to see it as much unless you really share it and engage with it. So we do really appreciate the people that do that. All right, looks like we can get back into the downtown area here in a sec.
Thank the Soviets and the mighty Chinese best. Allies, the whole wide world around. Do the battling British think you can have 10 million gangsters. Take them to Paris. Down. Take them to Paris.
Go down.
But when I think of the ships and the men going down, and the Russians fight on across the town.
So there's these little staircases to get off the pedestrian bridge. It's sort of a traffic jam here.
So you guys are Unicorn Riot, right?
Yeah.
I was going to suggest maybe one thing you could do possibly is try and get a Freedom of Information Act request on the Portland Police Bureau.
We filed some and they just ignore them.
And see if they've got a lawyer up. Have you seen if they're using like Stingray technology? Because that's one thing I'm really interested
We
in.
filed a few requests, but nothing's coming yet.
No.
I don't know. Maybe it's one of the things where it just takes like months.
Oh yeah. There's not a very high level of transparency.
Yeah, it seems like the local reporters who really stay on there only once they get anything out of it.
Yeah.
Right on. Have a good one. You too. Thanks. All right, so we're heading back down to the waterfront downtown area. I think most of the Proud Boys have cleared out. We heard Joey Gibson was standing around somewhere looking for a ride. We'll see. Definitely, it seems like sometimes the way the Proud Boys were moving or them using the police escort, they were able to sort of evade being confronted by anti-fascists. Thank you.
What's going on here?
People are like trying to find the Proud Boys, but I think they all left already.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me know.
Thanks. So yeah, earlier when the Proud Boys had their official event, there was a lot of counter-protesters that pretty heavily outnumbered them, pretty close to where they were, or there was some of the crowds were mixing around, even though the police had lines trying to keep a perimeter. It seems like after the Proud Boys left, the police escorting them and opening and closing bridges to facilitate their movement, and then the police also blocking the anti-fascist march sort of kept any confrontations from happening later on. Seems like people are still keen to find where the Proud Boys are and mobilize there, so we'll see what else happens later in the day. You might want to take it down.
Please come and hydrate. Donations are welcome. Please come and hydrate. There is water here.
Sit down for a second. We're gonna generic while we rest for a second. Alright, a thing that happens sometimes is when you're streaming and there's copyrighted music playing, they'll take the stream offline automatically. So we're on Facebook and YouTube, so we're trying to avoid that. So it's not, we're not against Rage Against the Machine, we just don't want Sony to get our stream taken offline. Okay, we're gonna try and see what's going on and what we should do next. I would just point it that way for now. So it seems like a lot of people have dispersed. It's not really clear what's going to happen next. I think a lot of the Proud Boys have left. We saw that Joe Biggs said the event was over, but some of their groups have still been seen around town. People also know they're at a lot of hotels in the area, so people seem to be worried about fights happening at bars and stuff later. Hey. Can you hold this for a second? I'll get my phone. I just don't want to be stumbling on the street.
Bear with us, folks. Chris just taking a little break, checking on information to see where we're going to head to next. Give us just a moment. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in to Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, or live stream today. Looks like some of the Antifa and anti-racist protesters are getting some water and resting on their way back to the park after crossing the bridge. I'd like to thank everybody for bearing with us. So when we crossed over the east side today, we were having a lot of technical difficulties. Heard from locals it's almost impossible to stream in a lot of the areas we were, even with the bonding equipment we have. We were having trouble getting the stream up. Thanks for bearing with us. While we have this break, I'd like to thank our new donors today and new patrons for helping support our work. We wouldn't be able to get a 3-person team on the ground here in Portland without your help, let alone upgrade our live stream equipment to try to bring you more stable streams from here on out. So for all past and current donors today, we thank you for watching, and everyone who can't or hasn't donated, we still appreciate your viewership. Thanks for tuning in and spreading the word and sharing our links. We appreciate it. This is John Z here, operating the camera, taking over for Chris here for a minute on the mic. We've had Chris hosting all day long. We've had Wes out here taking some photos and videos. We'll hopefully have out in a more comprehensive article after the fact, so keep an eye on Unicorn Riot's feed on our Twitter, UR_Ninja, or our Facebook feed, just Unicorn Riot. And so you can see more media that comes out after our live feed goes down in the next couple days from this event.
Okay, we might take the stream down soon. We got a tip on maybe where Joey Gibson is, so we're going to see if we can find anything over there. But for right now, here's the streets of Portland. Cops. Some riot police information on this side of the street. Maybe something's going on over here.
Apparently so, but even though
So there was a Joey Gibson sighting in the area. We're not sure if he's still over here. The police presence would seem to suggest something was going on. So yeah, pretty substantial militarized police presence here in this area. They're making announcements on the LRAD again. Oh, riot squad.
Oh yeah, now they're going out.
Getting on their little jump out boards on the SUV again.
Get ready for a dance troupe or something, you know, like they're gonna bust out and song and dance. Hey, I think it's pretty sad that you guys have to wear helmets, so.
Yeah, this is Joey Gibson
Smart.
over here. We heard he was over here.
No? Oh, I really? He got let out?
He got out yesterday. He was at the event today, and we heard that he was over here waiting for a ride.
I'm glad he got released.
two dogs.
I don't know. I'm just guessing that all these cops are here because he was here, but we don't know.
That kid kind of look. No, the guy has a cleaner. He's younger.
I guess it seems like they're going this way, so let's go this way.
I think they can give you a ride.
Yeah.
They will. Yeah, they'll definitely give you a ride.
So it seems like something's going on in this area based on how the police are mobilizing, but who can say for sure? I don't know.
Yeah, the LRAD just went around the other way.
Oh, I see that American flag up there. That's got to be the Proud Boys group or something.
Yep.
Let's see what we can see. Can you pop the zoom up in there?
Where? Point me.
Right corner. By to the bottom to the right of the red light. So yeah, it looks like some of the right-wing group is still trying to start stuff downtown. Some people are up there confronting them. It looks like we're going to try to get in there for you. Well, I'm guessing there's like at least 100 officers just right in this one square block. It's quite dense with riot police at this time. Okay, looks like some of the police are advancing up ahead. Maybe the right-wing group is moving too. All right, things are speeding up. Oh, maybe it's just this one guy. Or one person, my mistake. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of police up here. It seems like there's like an anti-fascist march snaking through the streets. Not sure if there's an alleged gathering of Proud Boys or Joey Gibson people in the area or not. So I think we just passed the Burnside Bridge, which is the bridge we just walked over and back again. So yeah, it seems like, okay, yeah, the Proud Boys are up ahead, and it seems like a lot of people are following them. That's what's going on here.
Dude, is that right there?
Patriot Prayer.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, so...
All the Proud Boys peeked out.
Okay. Yeah, someone from the crowd corrected us. I think it's Patriot Prayer up ahead. So they work with the Proud Boys, or they have in the past, but they're different. Sometimes they work together, sometimes they hate each other. Sort of depends. So yeah, it looks like something's going up ahead. They get up so they don't come here. Alright. So, trying to just get up ahead to see what's happening. Looks like Patriot Prayer is basically just getting escorted out of the area by a bunch of anti-fascists and a shit ton of cops. You want to swing around the front? Alright, we're going to try to get in front of the group, get a better angle for you. Okay, yeah, that's Joey Gibson. Oh, look at this. This guy was revving his motor to sort of drown out Joey Gibson, and now the cops are surrounding him. Or maybe it's a woman, I'm not sure. The cops are telling this person they can't rev their engine. All right, looks like the police are arresting this person. They were revving their engine to drown out Joey Gibson before the police arrested them. Another cop was just trying to swat someone's phone out of the air. All right, we got other police moving up with less lethal munitions. This guy's shaking up a can of mace.
Hey, let's hear it for fucking Snodgrass and his crew.
So So police with less lethal munitions are now moving up. They haven't like raised their weapons yet.
Yeah, look at that. It only took 4 of you to take a grown woman off a bike. You're fucking pathetic. That was pathetic. I'm not saying you're general, but that was one of those fucking You should be fucking ashamed of that.
Arrest and use of force, including riot control agents and attack weapons. Do not interfere.
So if anyone just missed that, what was happening was someone was on their motorcycle, revving their motorcycle to drown out Joey Gibson, who was talking, and then the police, pretty forcefully, I would say, 4 of them arrested this person, and it might have been a woman on the motorcycle, because I guess I don't know. So they were trying to drown out Joey Gibson, and the cops stopped them from drowning out Joey Gibson with their motorcycle. A Portland police detective was caught earlier this year through public records requests, basically repeatedly passing police intelligence to Patriot Prayer, telling them, hey, there's a bunch of Antifa over here, there's no police over there, or this Portland police detective was actually advising members of Joey Gibson's group on how to avoid being arrested on active warrants. Other emails obtained from inside the Portland police show that they consider groups like Patriot Prayer and the Proud Boys to be quote-unquote mainstream, and that they view the anti-racist activists as the primary threat. So, I'm sure the police have their own version of the arrest you just saw on our stream now, but many people would say it seems to fit the pattern of right-wing police culture in Portland, taking violent action to support right-wing groups. So it's mostly Portland Police and Multnomah County Sheriff who are here right now. I think that's also who took part in the arrest. It was 4 officers arrested, the 1 person on their motorcycle. All right. Things seem to have been clearing out here. It's mostly police left. So some of the officers just yelled hotel and are now running back to their... Okay, there's the person getting arrested there.
Maybe they're at the Proud Boys hotel?
Yeah, so maybe the cops are going to the hotel where the Proud Boys are. We're not sure. Some of these cops, some officers were just yelling foxtrot at each other, so that's probably some sort of code for their operational plan.
I don't think it's good. I don't think someone says hotel.
So I wonder if Joey Gibson's down there. We sort of lost sight of Joey Gibson once that arrest happened. He was trying to talk and we just literally couldn't hear anything Joey Gibson was saying because that person was revving their engine. And then the cops went and arrested them for revving their engine. So we'll see what happens. Looks like there's still a big gaggle of reporters and anti-fascists following Mr. Gibson up ahead. There's more police closing in from behind as well now.
What do you believe?
Go back to Vancouver.
I believe in a lot of the same things.
Go back to Washington. Love it or leave it.
You believe in hate? Before he died, he was actually trying to set up the end of racism by identifying the cause of racism, and he identified that as poverty, militarism.
So a few people sort of affiliated with Joey Gibson are kind of like doing their own media operation, streaming and kind of yelling stuff around him. There's a bunch of people just shadowing Joey, sort of just talking a bunch of shit to him too.
Be a veteran. Go fight. Go fight for. If you love the country so much. I don't necessarily trust the country. I believe it was April 1st. You don't trust the Army or the Marines? I don't trust the federal government.
So it's not clear if Gibson's going anywhere or if he's just walking downtown looking for a response. Kind of the whole strategy of groups like Patriot Prayer is to just agitate people and see what sort of situation they can create that they can then use to further their victimhood narrative. So we don't know if he's going somewhere to get picked up or if he's here to do this, to do exactly what you're saying.
A year-long assassination, character assassination.
This other guy in front of Joey has just been yelling to no one in particular this whole time. But he's here with Joey.
Will we find out when you're dead that you're Japanese and name streets after you? Will we find out when you are murdered that you're Japanese and we will name streets after you?
What are you going on about,
Wait, what?
dude?
If I get murdered, they're gonna they'll never name a street after me.
Like I said, the last year of Martin Luther King's life, they assassinated his character. Today we remember him by a dream, but the last year of his life was a nightmare if you read Travis Smiley's Year of a King. The man died where the NAACP was demonizing. Today we name streets after him.
Joey, how do you feel about the Oath Keepers saying they don't trust you to keep neo-Nazis out of your events?
That wasn't me. That was Joe Wilkes they said that about.
We can't tell the truth.
Okay.
This is my rally.
We can remember the past, and we can.
He's right about that, actually. I got that mixed up. Whoops. So yeah, this isn't Joey's event. He got out of jail yesterday after turning himself in for charges of riot. He wasn't involved in the physical attacks on people at Cider Riot on May 1st, but he was like under conspiracy laws and riot laws, which are widely interpreted and usually used against leftists. The prosecutors are claiming he, helped. All right, the police are directing Joey to leave. All right, Joey's getting in this car. The police are like, Joey, get out of here. Okay, the police said, Joey, get in the car. Everyone else get back. The police are pointing weapons at people as Patriot Prayer leader Joey Gibson is getting in his car. They said, get out of here. All right, Mr. Gibson's making a speedy departure in the gold Subaru. See if you can zoom in on the rounds in that gun. It's got like a... What kind of rounds is that, sir? It's a large, I don't know if it's a magazine or what looks like maybe it's foam marker rounds.
Yeah, foam type of pellets.
So what they do is they probably use them as like an impact weapon, but they also use the foam rounds to mark people for later arrests. At least we've seen that in other cities like Minneapolis. Different cities use these crowd control weapons different ways. A year ago, Portland police were firing flashbang grenades into a protest crowd at head level. They hit one guy in the back of the head, sent him to the hospital. He almost died. They've been instructed not to use those munitions since then. They have used rubber bullets and sort of similar stuff at recent events, though. But not today, as far as I know. The police have gotten a fair amount of negative PR for what is seen by many as their close, sympathetic relationship with groups like Patriot Prayer and the Proud Boys. So the recent prosecutions of Joey Gibson and others for the Cider Riot incident, and then also they seem to be taking a slightly more careful approach today because they're sensitive of the negative press. Maybe things are changing with now they're investigating some of the right-wing groups more. I can't, who's to say? We'll see how things develop.
Go north on 2nd and stay on the other.
We've tried filing some records requests to the Portland police to sort of find out their communications about these events. All those requests have either been denied or ignored, or they want us to pay thousands of dollars, which we can't afford. But some local reporters with the Portland Mercury, the Willamette Weekly, some others too, I think, have done a pretty good job of digging up police records. And there's a lot of evidence of at least individual officers having pretty strong sympathy for some of the violent far-right groups and seeing anti-fascists as like the primary enemy. That's not to say that represents every single person in the agency, but it does seem to be a pattern over time, and there's evidence for it from police documents. That's a new sound. I haven't heard that yet today. All right. Seems like things might be petering out. People might be dispersing, but there's still a lot of anti-fascists on the streets and a lot of police on the streets. Probably some Proud Boys in the mix around town too. So we'll see what happens.
Good chance.
Again, like I said, thank God we have a good genius dominant. And I created a media company as opposed to becoming the super predator that they said I was going to be. All right, how are you?
Hey, you.
How's it going, man?
Pretty good.
Sit down over here.
You created a media company.
I did, man. It's much better than filling up a U-Haul with aluminum nitrate.
He did eventually say.
Park the frame on these guys while we take a breather, right? So we're gonna sit down and take a break. Looks like these cops. These guys? Yeah.
Agonizing the people or something. Agonizing the people.
Yeah, this guy standing outside a shop said he thinks the cops are circling the block, antagonizing people. Oh, pretty good. Trying to stay, I don't know, I wouldn't say stay dry, but I'm covered in sweat. Ready to...
Batteries, 10%.
Yeah, we had our screen dip out a few times. We're like,
You know where the Roman Garrett is?
I don't know. I heard the Proud Boys are like back at their hotels or like not out, and then we just saw Joey Gibson get in a car and drive off. I'm ready to turn in. I feel like something else might pop off though, like randomly in the next 2 hours. But they're still here, so.
Yeah, we've been at it for a while. Around the country, around the world, really. Yeah, here, let me give you a card, bro. Yeah, we got live stream up You can do it right now.
Part of this, so.
Yep, it's already posted.
And then I have
We're a media nonprofit, so we're all supported by viewers.
and that's actually more.
Yeah, the social media, man, it's changing the world, really. You can give like Yep.
Yeah, that's how we do it.
That's where you just go. No, but I've worked on a bunch of farms. So. Yeah. Yeah, how was right back. Chris, you off my bag for stuff? I'm just gonna get it.
When he comes back, we'll have to reach out. Is this muted? No. Oh, these guys are driving on. Hey everyone, this is Chris with Unicorn Riot. We're still live here in downtown Portland. We're going to take the stream down in a second, but so for anyone who's catching up or just watching, basically earlier today there was a, I don't know, I would say like mid-sized, kind of small, right-wing, far-right rally called by this guy, Joe Biggs. Used to be part of InfoWars. He's a member of the Proud Boys. Basically, they called it a rally against domestic terrorism, which they're trying to say all anti-fascists are domestic terrorists and like really mobilizing around that language. So that rally happened. There was, I would say their turnout was not as good as they expected. They lost a lot of momentum earlier this week because Joey Gibson, who's the leader of Patriot Prayer, a local far-right group, got indicted, had a warrant issued for his arrest. He turned himself in and then was released. A few of Gibson's associates were also had warrants issued and were arrested this week in the lead up to this. Also, Joe Biggs, the main rally organizer, had posted a lot of violent threats online, posted a picture of himself or a video of himself showing off a spiked bat. He also wrote on Facebook that he was setting up a torture chamber in his home and lots of other things. So the FBI visited him at his house and asked him to tone it down. And so they were kind of like, hey, don't bring weapons. The feds are asking us stuff, you know, maybe take it easier. So not really a lot of violence or confrontations today. I would say there was a few thousand anti-fascist or anti-racist protesters out. There was a few minor scuffles and confrontations in the waterfront park downtown. We saw some new tactics being used. Some of the people on the anti-fascist side had these like hula hoops and stuff with saran wrap or bubble wrap in them that they would use to like create these visual barriers to try to push out right-wing live streamers and stuff who were trying to agitate and maybe looking to start fights in their crowd. So that happened at the waterfront. The Proud Boys ended their event a little early. They crossed, it was the Hawthorne Bridge, one of the bridges by the waterfront park. The police had closed that bridge to traffic all day. The police reopened that bridge so the Proud Boys could leave with a police escort. Then people, some of the anti-fascists, tried to go to East Portland. There's been some police behind us. Looks like they're sort of clearing out and falling back here. Anyway, so hearing that the Proud Boys were in East Portland, a large group of anti-fascists had marched across a pedestrian bridge, tried to confront the Proud Boys in East Portland. Large groups of riot police mobilized really quickly. They had a lot of guys on bikes and also officers, kind of like what you saw here, where they're standing on these little planks on the side of the SUV so they can jump on and off real fast. Lots of lines of riot police mobilized to stop people from confronting the Proud Boys in East Portland. And so basically the anti-fascists were unable to confront the Proud Boys after their rally in East Portland because the police interfered with their movements. The Proud Boys were then sighted in the waterfront area. People marched back here. I think most of the Proud Boys have dispersed, but we saw Joey Gibson around here in this area of downtown Portland just a few minutes ago, maybe 10-20 minutes ago. You could have seen it on the stream if you were watching. Basically, Joey Gibson, his usual routine is trying to incite a group to get mad at him and then see what happens. He really revels in inciting this media spectacle and also in trying to provoke people who don't like him into fighting him and catching charges. People today seem determined to not give him that. It seemed like he didn't get that. We did just see an incident you might have watched on the stream where Joey Gibson was talking to some people and someone was revving their motorcycle really loudly so no one could hear him, and then the police came up and arrested this person who was revving their motorcycle really loudly, and it seemed a little aggressive. I guess I don't know how Portland police make their decisions on the fly. Maybe some records about that will come out after the fact, but until the arrests of Joey Gibson and some of his affiliates earlier this week, basically Portland police had taken little to no action to address the really well-documented violent assaults that he and members of his group and members of the Proud Boys have taken part in Portland repeatedly, basically since they started holding rallies here really regularly around Trump's inauguration, I want to say, as sort of a response to mass militant anti-fascist and anti-Trump protests that had taken the streets. And so, yeah, things have sort of tamped down here today. I think there's going to be a lot of police downtown all day, probably waiting to respond to things that happen. Some Proud Boys and other people here for the far-right rally are in hotels downtown. Other people are around. Some groups, like the American Guard, which is a far-right militia, they present themselves as a patriot group, but their founder, Brian James, is a member of the Vinlander Social Club, which is a neo-Nazi group, and he was also a member of the Outlaw Hammerskins, which is an extremely violent neo-Nazi gang. So that guy's group, the American Guard, they're here, but he said on his social media, don't go downtown, but they're around. But they've avoided the mobilization today due to probably the increased heat from law enforcement on the far right, whereas before maybe they've been given more free space to operate. So maybe more things could pop off today. We're not sure. We've had a long day. There's been a lot of talk of like potential shooters and stuff, so I've been wearing this body armor, real ready to take it off. So if anything else happens, we'll try to get to the scene and show you what's going on, but we're going to take the stream down for now. Again, this has been Unicorn Riot. My name is Chris. I've been doing most of hosting the stream. John Ziegler has been holding it down on the camera. Thanks, John. Thanks to everyone on our offsite team helping us know. Sometimes the stream goes down and we got to check. So thanks, Lorenzo. Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, Nico. Thanks, Dan. So, yeah, we're going to bring our stream offline real quick. If you want to support this coverage, it's only possible thanks to donations and support from our viewers. If you go to our website, unicornriot.ninja, you can click on the tab that says donate. There's a few donation options there. We also have a Patreon, patreon.com/unicornriot. You'll never see any ads or paywalls on any of our stuff. It's all non-commercial, Creative Commons. Anyone's free to reuse our content for non-commercial purposes, so just don't run ads on it. Don't like sell it. We don't sell our footage. And so, yeah, if you're someone who can afford to financially support us, by supporting us, you're enabling us to bring commercial-free. Our stuff will always be commercial-free. We'll never have exclusive stuff for subscribers. So you're providing free, non-commercial coverage to other people. So if you can support us, then we can continue to bring media for free, even to people who can't afford to support us financially. So thanks to everyone who's made this possible. Some of you have been, helped us get where we are now, and really, really appreciate it. So this is Unicorn Riot, signing off in Portland. Thanks for watching.